What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Ivan Calderon and today I'm going to be going over my top 10 third-party mixing plugins. So a few weeks ago I was doing a live stream for my mailing list subscribers, which by the way, if you're not a part of that, you should definitely join. I do a bunch of extra things there like live streams and giveaways, and all you have to do to join is click the first link in the description. On top of that, once you join, you'll also get my free production toolkit, which comes with a few things to help you with your production. In any case, during the live stream, I asked what they wanted to see more of on the channel, and somebody recommended that I do a video on my top third-party mixing plugins, and I thought, what a great idea, so that is exactly what we're doing today. The only thing I'll say before I get started is that this will be more of an overview video because I couldn't possibly cover all the details of every plugin and still make this video a reasonable length. So if there's a plugin that you want to learn more about, let me know in the comments down below and I'll make a video on that if need be. But without further ado, here are my top 10 third-party mixing plugins. Okay, so first up, we actually have a VU meter by Klanghelm. VU meters are often overlooked, but I love to use them, especially in the beginning phases of mixing. With this one in particular, you can change the type so you can see either VU, DIN, or RMS, and you can even calibrate it to whatever you'd like. Now, not a lot of people know this, but there are certain plugins that actually recommend you use them on sounds that are gain staged to a specific level, oftentimes that being negative 18 dBFS, which is the equivalent of 0 VU. So what I do is I calibrate my VU meter to negative 18 dBFS like you see here, gain stage my sounds to that level, and then start to mix. Next up, we have Pro Q3 by FabFilter, and this one's actually a pretty recent pickup. For the longest now, I've just been using the stock EQ from Studio One, and that's worked fantastic, but I've always heard great things about the Pro Q EQs and FabFilter as a company, so I decided to finally pick it up. Now, there are so many things about this EQ that are phenomenal, but some of my favorite features include the fantastic user interface, the vast array of curves to help you shape and sculpt your sound exactly the way that you want, the fact that you can actually solo out a band, and this is really helpful when looking for problematic frequencies, the piano roll, and yes, you heard that right, you can actually go over to the bottom left corner here and click on this piano icon that will switch it from the traditional frequency scale to a piano roll that tells you where a band's EQ frequencies are in relation to an 88 keyboard layout. And that can be really helpful when dealing with things like harmonics. And of course, we also have the band analyzer, which can detect any other instance of Pro Q3 and show you a mask or an overlay of all other instances so you can make EQ moves relative to each other. A good example of when something like this would be useful is say when you're mixing an 808 and a kick. With the band analyzer, you would be able to see both EQs on top of each other for both sounds and then hopefully help you mix it a little bit easier. Moving on, the next two plugins are from a company that I've talked about extensively here on the channel. I love what they do, I love their plugins, and that is Soundtoys. The first one up is Decapitator, and it's essentially a saturation plugin, and while there are plenty of these out on the market, I really enjoy the look and feel of this one. Saturation plugins are really good for adding grit and harmonic content, both of which help your sounds in your mix pop. Decapitator is really easy to use, and of course it comes with plenty of presets to choose from, so I definitely recommend it. Next up, we have Echoboy, and this is easily my favorite delay. The other contender for this category was H Delay by Waves, and although that one's also really good, I've used Echoboy for a lot longer, so I'm more comfortable with it, so this was my pick. Now, much like with Decapitator, this kind of carries over that same aesthetic, and again, it's super simple to use. On the left, you have your mix knob, so you can go from dry to wet. You have your time knob, so this is where you would switch it from, say, an eighth, like right now, to a quarter note, to a half note. You can switch that to a dotted, to a triplet. You can adjust the feedback with this knob here. You have your low cut and high cut. You have your tempo section, so here you can kind of synchronize it to the tempo of your session. You can mess around with the groove, the feel. You can change the mode, so you can go from a single delay to a dual delay to a ping pong and even a rhythmic echo. And of course, you even at the end have this kind of a saturation section, so you can dial in the settings and get exactly the sound that you want. Moving on, fifth on my list is one of my most used and favorite reverbs, and that is Valhalla Room by Valhalla DSP. This reverb is really user-friendly, while at the same time having plenty of parameters for you to choose from. Aside from that, you also get plenty of reverb modes to kind of change the room type, and of course, plenty of presets to get you going. Next up, we have one of my newest additions to the bunch, and that is Whiter by Infected Mushroom, and this one's actually pretty straightforward. You essentially have a whitening plugin with one slider, and of course, the farther out you go, the whiter the sound gets. the best part about this is that it's free. Moving right along, we have Revival by Slate Digital. Now this plugin's kind of like a secret sauce, and my guess is that it's actually a bunch of different plugins combined into one. With this plugin, you basically have two knobs, so it's really easy to use. The top knob adds this sort of like silky top end shimmer, while the bottom one adds low end thickness. Whenever you have a sound or a track or you just want to push over to the next level and make it really good, this is a great plugin to consider. And much like Wider, the best part about it is that it's also free as long as you have an iLock. Next on my list, we have L1 by Waves. The L1 has been my go-to limiter for a while now, and although I'm sure there are plenty of better ones out on the market, I really enjoy using this one because of how simple it is to use. Ninth on my list, we have the SSLG bus compressor by Waves. Now, there are plenty of variations of this plugin by different companies out on the market, but the one by Waves is really good, and it is often on sale. As the name suggests, it is really good to use on buses. And my favorite way to use this is to add it to a submix or like a mix bus to add a bit of punch while at the same time gluing everything together. Finally, last but not least, we have Audria. Now this is a plugin that I've done a review on, so if you want to learn more about it, I'm going to link it up top here. But essentially, you add it to your master bus, and then through either a wired or wireless connection, you can stream your mix directly from your DAW to your phone. I've drastically reduced my trips to the car to check my mixes thanks to this little guy, and I couldn't recommend it more. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Now, every plugin that I talked about today will be linked down below in the description for your convenience. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're not already, but I'll see you guys on the next one.